In the early days of the internet, big tech, the way that we know them today, didn't exist. Nothing was off limits. There was no superpower telling you what you could or could not do. Nobody knew who you were unless you told them. Nobody was watching you, manipulating you, tracking, aggregating, and profiling your every move. Nowadays, the internet has been co-opted. Web traffic is dominated, monitored, and filtered by just a handful of giant American companies. They store all our photos, process all of our private messages. They know everything we buy, search, and watch. They put cookies on our computers that follow us wherever we go. They know what we think and how we tick. They have become so big that they have stolen our ability to choose alternatives simply by isolating and buying out all of their competition. Over the past 2 decades, Facebook acquired 88 companies, Amazon acquired 104 companies, and Google's parent company Alphabet acquired more than 240 companies. Facebook is incompetent and deplorable. The company has leaked hundreds of millions of user accounts to the dark web, was caught storing millions of passwords in plain text. They sell our data to other companies as leverage. They're trying to impose net neutrality in third world countries, and are currently being sued by 46 states and the FTC after it emerged that smaller app companies were sharing highly confidential data such as ovulation cycle information to Facebook without consent. But suing Facebook isn't working. Facebook vs. Davis is a suit filed against Facebook in response to its violations in 2010 of the Wiretap Act, but 11 years later, and Facebook still hasn't been prosecuted. The primary recourse that most people think of is for government intervention to regulate or break these companies up. But with so much money, surveillance, and control of public discourse, they can distract the masses with nonsense and tip the balances to put whatever politicians they want in power in order to slow down the whole process. To summarize bleakly, the competition are bought out, the courts are glacially slow, Congress shows very little sign of wanting to fix anything, and the people of the free-thinking world are now trapped with very little power to fight back. But what if I told you that there is actually one thing that you can do right now as a form of quiet, yet terrifying protest against the big tech oligarchies? All you have to do is download and use the Brave browser. The man at the helm of the Brave browser and the basic attention token cryptocurrency is Brendan Eich. Eich is well known for having invented the JavaScript language, which today is the most widely used web programming language in existence. He developed JavaScript to work on a browser called Netscape in the 90s. After Netscape went out of business, he started developing an adversary to Microsoft's Internet Explorer in 2003. This adversary became Mozilla Firefox. Around this time was when a young company called Google was gaining momentum as a globally recognized search engine. Shortly after, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter also became household brands. All of these companies had one main way of earning revenue, and that is by collecting data and running ads. In the world of online advertising, there are 4 key players: the advertisers, the publishers, the consumers, and the middlemen. The advertisers are people or corporations that want to sell an item or build a brand. The publishers are people who run websites and create content for consumers to enjoy. The middlemen sit between the publishers and the advertisers. A publisher will allocate certain sections of their website for advertising, but the publisher doesn't decide what ad goes into each section. That's the job of middlemen, like Google and Facebook. As you browse the internet, almost every website you visit will put pieces of computer code into your browser called cookies. These cookies are used by middlemen to track you. They do this without your consent, and it doesn't matter whether you've made an account or have actively given any personal details. The middlemen that own these trackers build a profile about who you are, and every time you load a web page, the website will take your cookies and send them to the middlemen. The middlemen link your cookies with other data and profile you. Then once that's done, they auction off your profile to the highest bidder. The winner gets to show you their ad, and this all happens in the time span of milliseconds. Over time, the middlemen start to stockpile information about you. They all start to share each other's data and sell it to one another. The better the data the middleman has, the more that advertisers will pay, which ultimately incentivizes them to stalk and violate users more and more. In 2020, Google, Facebook, and Amazon together dominated 64% of the digital ad market, worth a total of $330 billion in that year alone. But with the increasing invasiveness of ads, people have turned to ad blocking technology. According to the Global Web Index, 47% of consumers are now using ad blockers. But the problem with ad blockers is that although they cripple big tech middlemen by blocking their ability to track you, they're also destroying publishers and making it harder for advertisers to reach their audience. If only there was a way that users could passively support publishers without paying a subscription and without feeding the big tech giants. If only there was a way that users could receive tailored ads without being stalked and violated. This is exactly the problem that Brave and the basic attention token cryptocurrency are trying to solve. After working on the Mozilla Firefox project for 11 years, Brendan Eich left Mozilla in 2014. He raised $2.5 million and released the first version of Brave in January of 2016. Brave is an open source internet browser and it's based off Chromium, the same base for the Google Chrome browser, but with one major all-important difference. It blocks virtually all ads and trackers by default. As we mentioned before, ad blockers can cripple big tech companies, but they also destroy publishers and make life harder for advertisers. So Eich and the people around him came up with the basic attention token, or BAT for short. Here's how it works. Advertisers register their ads with the BAT team, and it gets added to a catalog. Consumers download the Brave app, and the app will analyze all of their actions in the browser in a similar way to Google and Facebook, but with one monumental difference. The analysis of your data happens entirely on your computer, and it stays there. It does this by downloading a machine learning model, as well as a catalog of ads from the BAT team. Then the app will take your data, run it against the machine learning model, and if it finds a match between your data and the ad catalog, then it will notify you of an ad match. Your response to the ad match will be recorded and fed back into the machine learning model to help it target better ads to you. All this happens without your data ever leaving your computer. On your phone, the ad shows as a push notification, and on the desktop it shows on the side as part of the browser or as the content of a new tab. The ads don't actually show as part of the websites. This allows you to maintain the user experience of an ad blocker. Users don't have to allow ads, they can choose to opt out, and they can also choose to set a maximum number of ads to receive per hour. Oh, did I mention that users get paid for viewing ads? Users will be compensated in the form of BAT token for viewing ads. If you just close the ad, you will get a little bit of BAT token, but if you click on the ad and interact with it, then you will receive more BAT token. So when an advertiser purchases BAT, they're essentially purchasing user attention, which is one of the most valuable commodities in the world. The browser also has a mechanism for supporting publishers. The auto contribute section lets you choose a maximum for how much you want to donate overall each month, and it also ranks the publishers by how much attention you give to them. If you don't like a publisher, you can remove them. This helps to de-incentivize clickbait and questionable news. If you really like a publisher, then Brave makes it easy for you to make ad hoc or recurring donations to publishers that are separate to your auto contributions. In the legacy advertising system run by big tech, the people are the products. In BAT's new system, the people are the decision makers. The ICO for BAT occurred in May of 2017, just 4 months after the release of Brave, and the first implementation of the BAT system was deployed not long ago in April of 2019. As of February 2021, Brave has reported to have 25.4 million monthly active users, growing from 11.6 million just 12 months ago. The ad revenue for the platform has grown more than 28 times over the past 16 months, and there are now more than 2,800 campaigns from 465 advertisers. Major publishers are also on board, such as The Guardian, The LA Times, NPR, and The Washington Post. For further transparency, the BAT team has a site called backgrowth.com, which shows a live reporting of all of the publishers that have joined the network, and at the time of writing, there is more than 1 million. Overall, the business model is absolutely revolutionary to say the least. But Brave has a huge mountain to climb. Facebook and Google have around 3 billion monthly active users each, so Brave's 25 million hardly scratches the surface. But as mentioned before, 47% of consumers are already using ad blockers. This will force the legacy system to target the remaining 53% even harder. Then the combination of increasingly intrusive ads, the growing public discourse regarding data privacy, and the increase of the technical savviness of users will cause even more people to turn to ad blockers. The legacy system of stalking and profiling users is doomed to fail, and the system that replaces it will be the one that protects and empowers the people. It would of course be naive to think that these giants are willing to go down without a fight. The battle ahead is going to get hard, so you better get brave. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is a new channel, and we put a lot of work into these videos, so if you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and drop a comment too. It really helps. Thanks guys.